In the last lesson, we learned how to count 1 to 100, and we also learned how to write the numbers from 1 to 100. In this lesson, we are going to learn about place values. So let's go back down here, and we have 100. And this 100 number is made up of how many digits? 3 digits. 1, 2, 3. The first digit is 0, the second digit is 0, and then the third digit is 1. So 3 digits total. So we have 3 digits number. Okay? And that's the number 100. Now let's go back and learn about place values. So let's write a number 100. 100. When you look at this, this has 3 digits. Well, starting from all the way to the right, the very first digit, this is your ones. What does it mean, ones? Remember, we count this box once. What is ones? Well, remember we count the box one box at a time. So think of the ones like one box. Okay? Then, after the ones, we have something called the tens. Okay? And this is the tens. So the second digit to the right is always the tens. So what is the word tens mean? Well, 10, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And notice how this whole entire thing represents 10. So I'm gonna draw that. So this is the tens. So one of this whole entire thing equal to 10 little box. That's why we call it tens. And that's the tens place. And then we have the third digit to the right. And this third digit represents hundreds. So what is a hundred? Well, if we zoom out, look at this. If we zoom out, this whole entire thing right here is equal to 100. And therefore, it's equal to hundreds. And that is the place values of a number with 3 digits. So it takes forever to count 1 to 100, right? But now you learn the place values. Let's learn using the place values. Remember this long stick right here, it has 10 boxes on it. So how many boxes do we have? So in this example, we are going to learn how to count this using place values. Well, the first thing is always start on the ones. Always start on the ones. To count, we always start counting the ones first before we count the tens, okay? So in this case, we have all ones right here. So this is all ones. So all ones right here. How many ones do we have? 1, 2, 3. So in this case, we have 3. Our first digit, this is your ones right here. We have 3. Now let's get to the next one. After the ones, what do we have? The 10. How many 10 do we have? Well, this is one 10. This is another 10. Okay. And this is another 10. And this is another 10. And then we have the last 10. How many 10 do we have together? 1 10, 2 10, 3 10, 4 10, 5 10. So there you go. So what is our number? 53. And that's how you count using place values. Let's try another one. Let's count how many boxes are there in this sample. So to count, always start counting ones first. Well, in here we have, so here we have all ones. And how many ones do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this case, we have 6 of the ones. Now after we count the ones, we move to the next one. In this case, we have this right here, and each one of these represent 10. And that's the tens values. And how many tens do we have? 1, another 10's right there, another 1 right there. Then we have another 10 right here, another 10, and then another 10. Then we have another 10. Do we have any more 10's? No. And how many 10's do we have total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 10's. So 7 of 10's. And where does the 10's go? Of course, that's the second digit to the right, which is right here. That's the 10's. And how many do we have? 7. So there you go. You have a total of 76 boxes in this sample. Isn't it fun how to count with place values? A lot faster, isn't it? Again, let's try how to count how many boxes are in this sample. And always start counting with the ones first. So again, always start counting the ones first. So here I'm going to circle my ones and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 of ones, okay? So here my first digit, which is the ones value, so we have 5. This is your ones place, okay? Now, do we have any 10? Well, we count all the 1. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the 10. Do we have any 10s? Well, in this case, this whole entire thing represents 10s again. And how many 10 do we have? Just 1 10. So therefore, we put a 1 there. And that tells you there are only 1 10. And what's the number in this case? 15. So there are 15 boxes in the sample. Now are you ready to count something more challenging? So let's count how many boxes are in this sample. So again, always counts the ones first. How many ones do we have? So let's circle it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So our first digit again always represents the ones. So we have 4 of ones. Okay, so we have 4 ones. Now we count all the ones already. Let's move on to the next digit, which is the second to the right. Okay, so in this case, the 10th value. Remember, this whole entire thing has 10 boxes. That's why we call it 10s. So how many 10s do we have? 1, 2 10, 3 10. So what's the total? 1, 2, 3. So here, our second digit is your 10s values. So now we have 34. But wait a minute, we have this over here. And we learned that, and we just count that in the last lesson, that all this include 100 or 100 boxes. Okay? And we call this the hundreds place. And in this case, how many boxes of 100s do we have? Just 1. So therefore, we're gonna go here. It's just gonna be 1. So what is our number total? It's gonna be 134. And that's how you apply place values to count a very large number. Now, are you ready to count even a more challenging number? In this sample, we have a lot of boxes, and to count one by one, it would take forever. But we know the place values, and to count, we always start with the ones. So how many ones do we have? In this case, we have the ones right there. Because each one of this represents the 10, and this one represents 100s, okay, or the hundreds. So for the ones, we have 1, 2. So our first digit for this number, okay, which is 2, and that's 2 of the ones. Now we finish with the ones, we go to the next digit, moving all the way to the second one. We have the 10th value, and each one of this whole entire stick right here has 10 boxes. We have 10. So how many 10s do we have? 1, 2 10, 3 10. See right there? 1 10, 2 10, 3 10. So the total is 310. So in this case, we have 310, and that is the values of 10s. Now, what about these big boxes here? Well, we count them already, and it's all the way to 100. And how many hundreds boxes do we have? We have 100 here, we have 100 there, and 100 right there. And we have 100s right here. So how many hundreds do we have? Well, 1, 2, 3. Oh, there you go. And this is our hundreds place. So this sample has 332 boxes. And that is how you count using place values.